Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. In this video, I'll be reviewing the Tigris. This is a currently rank 4 battle rating 6.0 heavy tank that exists as a premium vehicle for the Italian Ground Forces tech tree and comes with 15 backups for 4,880 Golden Eagles. This, of course, is a Hungarian vehicle based on its operator country. Now, with that being said, I'll be going over everything that you need to know about this vehicle, including its stats, how it plays, I'll go over its strengths and weaknesses, I'll give some scores in several key areas, and then I'll give my final recommendation on if I feel that this vehicle is worth purchasing or not. As always, please consider subscribing if you'd like more content like this, as that would make you cooler than the Gaijin devs that put a Hungarian Tiger into War Thunder as a premium vehicle. But without further ado, let's get into it. Now to start, I'll place its stat card here on the side of the screen. Important things to note are its top speed, firepower, and overall armor. Now for how it plays. In short, this is a Tiger E, though with somewhat more track armor on the front, but also lacking the useful APCR and smoke grenades from the German Tiger E. Regardless of these differences, the Tigris still has the powerful 88mm KWK-36 cannon with two great PCGR APCBC shells. This great armament, mixed with the largely decent or good armor and mobility, allows for the Tigris to fill a number of roles, including sniping, which is what all Tigers, be it a Tiger 1 or 2, is going to be best at, as well as frontlining, brawling in down tiers, and when angling your armor, of course, and even some light flanking due to the fairly decent speed of this vehicle. If in an up tier, the Tigris can still perform well as a support tank, and of course as a sniper, which is largely due to the surprising versatility and powerful cannon on this beast. Unfortunately, however, this vehicle is not all sunshine and rainbows, as it has flat panelable armor all around its hull, meaning that you will need to angle it in order to be effective. This weak armor also extends around the sides and rear of the turret. While this is the same tank that you read about as dominating in World War II, it did so largely against tanks that in War Thunder would be a much lower BR than it, and also did so with, at the time, the most experienced and best trained tank crews in the world, versus tank crews that had substantially less training than them. In War Thunder, this is obviously not the case, as the Tiger would dominate in the hands of a player with the equivalent of thousands of wins who gets placed into a match with 3.3 BR vehicles such as early Shermans and T-34s. Because you don't have that incredibly favorable environment and instead have to fight 85mm equipped T-34s, 76mm Shermans, and far worse, you really need to pay attention to your placement with the Tigris. Angling is absolutely key to surviving, as well as preferably staying at a range, where your cannon has a comparable advantage, at least against many similar or lower BR tanks. Keeping your hull armor hidden is also a strong plus and is practically necessary, as the frontal turret armor is very good on this vehicle, even more so than on the Tiger H. Plus, there are plenty of different doodads on the front of this hull, including track armor and a driver's port, that will make this vehicle very difficult to pen from the front, at least again if you angle properly. Speaking of, I have a somewhat old but still useful guide on angling if you want to check that out. I'll try to link it down below if I remember in the comments. Regardless of all that, if you can keep yourself protected and play this vehicle to its strengths, it can still easily dominate in a match, doubly so if it ever gets put back down to 5.7 BR. Now that being said, let's get into the strengths and weaknesses of this vehicle, and first for its strengths. The Tigris has fairly thick armor, especially at the front of the hull and more so at the front of the turret, where the hull has 30mm extra of track armor that other Tigers don't have, and also features some 30mm track armor on the turret sides as well, though of course this is also on other Tigers. Second, this features the smaller commander cupola, as it is based on the Tiger E, which basically means that you have a much lower weak spot where that would normally be. Third, this has good gunner's optics, at least for a World War II vehicle. For its fourth strength, it has decent power to weight ratio and mobility for a heavy tank, again featuring 700 horsepower compared to 650 from the Tiger H. For its fifth strength, this has a powerful and accurate 88mm cannon that can pen through over 160mm of armor with over 100 grams of explosive filler for that nice post-pen damage. For its sixth strength, this features a top-mounted LMG that will help in getting assist against aircraft and killing crew members in open-top vehicles. Seventh, this features a good suspension suspension that should make firing on the move fairly possible, even though of course it lacks a stabilizer. For its 8th strength, though not spectacular, it still has a good cannon depression of about 8 degrees. And finally, we have premium RP and SL bonuses that are surprisingly good on this vehicle. Now for its weaknesses. First, while its armor is thick, it is flat and is thus fairly easy to pen when not angled. Second, this lacks the APCR of the normal Tiger E, at least as of current. For its third weakness, this also lacks the smoke grenades of the normal Tiger tanks. Fourth, this is a fairly large target with ammo racks lining the relatively thin and flat side armor, at least if you carry enough ammo. And finally, while the cannon is indeed powerful, it can struggle in up tiers as armor massively jumps in thickness and effectiveness between 6.0 and 7.0 BR. But with all that said, let's get into how I score this vehicle. And first, for its armament, I give it a 6.5 out of 10. Despite it being a touch weaker after the increase to 6.0 BR, the 88mm cannon on the Tigris is still a beast. It is extremely accurate, and when combined with its nice gunner sights, allows for sniping, and also has good armor pen characteristics with over 160mm of armor pen at max. Further, it can have over 100 grams or even over 200 grams of explosive filler equivalent, depending on your shell choice between the PZGR-39 and the PZGR respectively. Unfortunately, the Tigris lacks the PZGR-40 APCR that has over 210mm of armor pen at max and comes on the German version of the Tiger E. Regardless, due to the still more than relevant cannon on this vehicle and not being typically placed against vehicles with overwhelming armor, the armament of the Tigris is still very good and very capable. Now for its mobility, I give it a 6 out of 10. Insofar as heavy tanks are concerned, the Tigris is actually a fairly mobile vehicle. This is due to it having the improved 700 horsepower engine rather than the lesser 650 horsepower engine on the Tiger H model. Because of this, the Tiger can actually keep up with many of the medium tanks in any given match, even if just barely. Though the power to weight ratio on this vehicle may be a touch rough, its suspension helps it to make the most of the power that the Tigris has available, making this a fairly immobile vehicle, which in turn opens up your gameplay options with it. Now for survivability, I give this a 6 out of 10. Much like with the armament, the Tiger has seen a bit of a decrease in effectiveness insofar as survivability is concerned since its BR has increased. Despite this, the Tigris is still fairly survivable, especially in down tiers. While the frontal plate of the hull is easily pennable, and more so from the side of the vehicle, angling goes a long way towards increasing survivability, turning this from an easily killed vehicle into a tough customer. Further, the interior of this vehicle is fairly spacious, which should limit post-pen damage. If you only carry 20 shells into a match, give or take, most of the ammo racks on the side of the tank are also going to be completely empty, which further increases survivability. As an added benefit, the Tigris also has more track armor on it than the other Tiger 1 variants, covering a large portion of the weakest spots of the front of the hull. The only real downside here is that it lacks smoke grenades, which does hurt quite a bit. Now overall, I give the Tigris a 6.25 out of 10. Though it's lost a little bit of its bite since having its BR increased to 6.0 from 5.7 BR, the Tiger and in turn the Tigris is still very formidable, especially in the hands of those that play to its strengths. This vehicle is one of the best snipers in the game and can even brawl, at least if you know how to maximize its armor. If it ever went back down to 5.7 BR, this would easily see a 0.5 score increase in terms of its overall capabilities. Regardless, this is still a nasty vehicle and can go toe-to-toe with anyone that it is likely to fight, including its replacement, the Tiger II. But with all that being said, do I recommend this vehicle? Yes, I do, though for a combination of reasons. For one, this is a still more than serviceable vehicle at its BR, but better than that, the Tigris is actually a good value. This is a rank 4 premium vehicle that costs less than 5,000 golden eagles and comes with 15 backups. While the Italian rank 5 of ground vehicles really isn't all too filled up, at least as of yet, so you won't have a ton to grind out with it, the sheer value of getting a rank 4 premium heavy tank for this price is pretty damn good. Doubly so because it's a fairly good vehicle. For comparison, the lower BR KV-122 and SU-122P both cost the same 4,880 GE, but are much less well-rounded compared to the Tigris. Even better is that the Tigris has a fairly decent lineup of 5.7 BR and 6.0 BR vehicles around it in the tech tree, which makes it very usable as an on anchor in a match. In all, yes, I do recommend this vehicle, and I do give it my Tankenstein seal of approval, though barely. I wish that the Tigris had the smoke grenades and APCR from the standard Tiger E. Despite having additional track armor on the front, the Tigris is still technically a very minor downgrade from the standard Tiger E, very much unfortunately. This is still a very good vehicle, don't get me wrong, and I love Tiger tanks, I even have a guide on them, and this is of course a relatively good value, but having those additional features would make it just better enough where I would feel that more people would actually want to buy it. Regardless, Tigris going to Tigris. But with that being said, thanks all so much for watching. Please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing, as that all means the world to me and would help you to see my future videos even easier. But either way, thanks again, and I'll see you all on the other side. Take care, everyone.